Hey guys. Okay, just bear with me a second here. I love it when things don't work. All right, fine. Don't work. Let's see if I care. All right. Sorry, the lighting's not going to be that great because I can't get the app to work properly. Okay, so I get asked about brushes all the time. Hey, Krista. And I knew nothing about brushes when I started doing this. I feel like, ooh, hello. Hey, Maureen. So I knew nothing about brushes when I started this business. I knew like very little about makeup at all, other than I knew how to put on a little bit so I looked okay. So over the last year and a half, I've actually found out a little bit more about brushes and exactly how to use them. And so I'm just going to quickly go through some of the brushes with you guys so you kind of know what to look for and how you're supposed to be using them. So as you guys know, you prime your face in the morning, but you need to apply your foundation and then your concealer, okay? So foundation brushes. Now, one of the things you can use, and I'm looking here, desperately looking for my beauty blender, but I don't know where my beauty blender went, so I'm going to show you Carly's beauty. Oh, there's my beauty blender. Okay, so a beauty blender is a great way to put on your foundation. You dampen it, you put the foundation on the dots on your face, or you can put it right on the sponge, and you press it into your face just like this, okay? I like this one just because it's got the flat side and it's got the rounded side, and you can roll the rounded side on your face, and this gives you a very clean and even finish. It pushes the color into your skin, and that way it doesn't look like you're wearing it. You don't get streaks, you don't get any of that stuff. If you are not a beauty blender person, and believe me, I use this probably once or twice a week when I'm having a really hard time getting my skin to look good because of the eczema. So if you're struggling with that, then we have a bunch of varieties of foundation brushes. So this is the Younique foundation brush, which desperately needs to be cleaned, as you can tell, because it's sticking together. What I like about this one, it's tapered at the top. I'm just going to swipe my comments away. So if you have a question, just give me a thumbs up and I'll swipe them back on, okay? So this is a foundation brush. So in the middle here, it has a little divot. You can put your foundation in there, or I just kind of put 4 drops, one here, like that. And then I just dot it on my face, and then I kind of go in swirlies and work it all in. And I like the taper part because it does get up into those corners and really close under those eyelashes, okay? I really like this. My only problem is I find sometimes this looks a little streaky on me because the bristles are really thick together. So what I have done is I have taken I think this is called a stippling brush, and you can put the foundation on this and then you just pat it all over your face. Same kind of thing that you do with the beauty blender, but you're just gonna pat it all over your face and work that color into your face. And again, doesn't leave the streaks. The only thing about this is you're not going to get into those corners. So again, you can use this one and go in and then just kind of finish over with the stippling brush. Now, so that's kind of how you're going to apply your base. If you use concealer, you need a dense brush to apply your concealer. So something like this, where it's kind of flat, it's like a concealer brush. Now we have all these brushes through Younique. I just don't have all of the Younique brushes. You know, you gather your brushes over the years, right? So I've had some, and then as I was learning, I picked up others. So this here is great for putting on your concealer, because you should put your concealer on after you put your foundation on. Our face cream is amazing. I rarely use concealer anymore because, as you can see, I still have dark rings, but they're hardly noticeable just by, and I just use BB cream today. So you would put your concealer on the back of your hand, tap the brush into it, and then apply it in a V under your eye. Okay, and then you could use this brush to work it in, or you can go back in with your Beauty Blender. So this has got the little side on here, and tap it in to work it in, or you can go back in with your foundation brush and work it in using that, that tip, and just work it in anywhere where you have dark spots that you want to really go through and cover. Okay, so concealer's done. So we got foundation, concealer, powder. So I do recommend using a setting powder. If your skin is dry like mine, use the setting spray. So we have the setting spray and we have a setting powder through Younique. So if your skin is really dry in the wintertime, I suggest using the spray, because powder just emphasizes your dry patches. So again, if your skin's really dry, you should use the BB cream. It will be kind of tacky. You could use a little bit of setting powder. But this is, you want a big fluffy brush when putting on your setting powders. You're just gonna put it on, and you're just like, seriously, you're just gonna, let me get out the setting powder. So setting powder, you're gonna tap it in, tap off the excess, and then you're just gonna tap it on your face, just in like your T-zone. I do it underneath my eyes. You can bake with this, and then blow off the excess, and then just very lightly brush off all of your powder, and then you're just getting a light coating of powder. Then use your setting spray. Okay, you should use your setting spray more than once. So you should always set your base. So your base is your foundation, your setting powder, BB cream, whatever, right? Okay, so we've got the foundation brush, we have a stippling brush, we have a powder brush, and I already put the concealer brush back, and a concealer brush. So that's your face. Oh, and your Beauty Blender. All right. Bronzer is the next step that most ladies use when they do it. So I like this. I don't even know if it's a bronzer brush or whatever it is. I just liked this one because I like that I could squish it down like that and turn it into a fan brush. Just put like one of those big bobby pins through it, and you have a perfect fan brush, right? But I like this one for doing the bronzer, because with the bronzers, they have two sides. So a matte side and a shimmery side. So you can go up and down on both sides, and then just bronze your face. And now you're getting both tones on your face by just one swoop. Okay, so we're going to do this side, the brush around, and again, just bronzing. You're just making it look like the sun's hit your face, right? That's all bronzing really is. It's just adding color to your face where you don't have any. So, bronzer. Now, contouring. So we do have a contouring kit. You guys will see I use my bronzer as my contour almost like 9 times out of 10. So a contouring brush is a must, okay? So it has a very flat end. This one's kind of, can you see that? It's like, I don't know how to show that to you. It's kind of like flat, and then it raises longer at the top. I guess if I do it this way, you can see it. Okay, so with this one, you're gonna go in, and I love our contour kit because it tells you, just trying to tilt this, exactly where to put each color. So this is the dark color. So you know how I just used the bronzer? It's kind of the same thing. So the dark color is going to go underneath your cheekbones and up in your hairline here, just to help define the shape of your face. You can also do it along your jawbone to create that, so you get that, like, see how, like, with my hair, you can see my jawline. So if my hair is back and I didn't have a turtleneck on, it might look like I have a continuous neck. This would just contour your neck. So you would just take the thick side and you would rub it in, and then you would contour your cheekbone just like that, and then you just work it in until you get the contour that you want. Okay, so that's really dark, even for me. So I'm just going to take my powder brush, and I'm just going to, this is great for buffing too, right? And I'm just going to buff that out. Just so it's not so, hey, look at me, I contoured my cheekbone. Okay, so you just buff it out. And then you can keep going in and and defining that cheekbone a little bit more and darkening up. So see how now I have a real defined cheekbone look? And then I'm just gonna pop it up just slightly. So no cheekbone, cheekbone, okay? And then you take your highlighting shades and it tells you right here, it's gonna go down your nose, right here in your forehead, underneath your eyes, right here in your Cupid's bow, and then your other highlighter here, okay? I know the light sends back, like, because these are shimmery colors, it sends back a reflection into the camera. Okay, the other thing is if you're using a powdered, so this is a cream contouring kit. If you're using a powdered contour kit, I suggest a fan brush. So you know how I said you can turn this one into a fan brush just by squeezing it? This is the fan brush, okay? So again, you're just gonna dip your fan brush in. I'm gonna dip it into the dark side of my bronzer. Of course, if you had a powdered contour kit, you could do that too. My daughter uses one. And then you're just gonna put that right there. And you just work it in until you have it all done. Any questions? Let me scroll this back this way. What is it? Okay, Amanda, sorry. Hey, Al. Amanda, you just got here. Okay, I'm talking about, hey, Wendy. I'm just talking about 2 in a day. Just talking about brushes because I get asked all the time about brushes. So the fan brush here. So Amanda, if you can ask your question again, just so I know, or kind of tell me where you were, because I swiped my comments away because I couldn't see my face. Okay, so the fan brush is great for doing your contouring. Now, the next brush that you need is a blush brush, all right? So Amanda, if you're still watching, just let me know. Okay, so is a blush brush. The blush brush, we're just doing face brushes right now. We'll get to eyes shortly. Is great for putting on what? Blush. I like that they're contoured. So they kind of go low to high again, just like our contour brush. And I broke my blush. I'll show you. I was devastated. I dropped it. So it's kind of hard to use. So you just tap it in just slightly. You can see I have lots of color on there, and that was just a tap. And then I always put this on the apple and swoop upwards. That's just how I do it, okay? Again, you want to find a brush that has very dense brushes because you're gonna have a lot more surface area to work with when putting on your color. Now I feel lopsided. We're just gonna do that over on this side just to pretend. Okay, so now we have blush. Now this is where I get asked the most amount of questions, especially with eyeshadows, because eyeshadow can be tricky to put on, right? And having the right tools that work for you is the key, because if you have brushes that are uncomfortable in your hand or uncomfortable in how long the bristles are, it's going to be hard for you to do this correctly. Okay, so Carly has her brushes. Okay, so you can see here, these are Carly's brushes. They are really long haired brushes. So for me, this is not going to work for me. I like my bristles short, okay? So what I like about the unique ones is that the brush hairs are short. So this is the Ingles Shadow brush. So you see how compared to Carly's, like look how much smaller. Now I know this is a really wide one, but hey Tom. But this one's much smaller and shorter hair. So it makes it easier to put your color where you want it, where I find the longer bristles are hard to actually place the color where you want it. The next thing you want is a flat brush. So something like this. Okay, I don't know what they actually call it, but it's like a flat shape. The other one that you can use really well is the cream shadow brushes. What you want is a flat, dense brush where, hey Jen, where you're going to have a lot of space to take the color and put it on your lid. This is the one that I always use for my lid, okay? So I'll either use this one or this one, depending on which one I can find at the time. So I'm just going to grab palette 1, and I'm just going to put, I took off my eyeshadow earlier because I know this is where people get stressed out. So I'm just going to put some primer on my eyelid so you guys can see it and it will stick. Okay, so we're going to take the angle shadow brush and we're going to use this to apply the color Hey Karen into the crease, okay? And so your crease is where, like, see how when you open your eye, you get this area? That's your crease, okay? And if you have hooded eyes, you want to apply it above. All right, so I usually go a little bit above. I go right in the crease, but I also go a little bit above my crease area, because once I open my eye, you're not going to see it, right? So I'm defining a crease by putting it above my eye. And I just work it in. I do a windshield wiper action here because I'm just spreading this color around. And it's kind of like my transition color. It's just that color that I'm putting on first, and I'm going to build the rest of my colors from that one. So that's fine. You don't have to blend this color in, okay? This is going to get blended in as you add other colors to your eyelid. Now, the next choice that you can do is you can either do your outer corner first and then do your lighter corner, like your eyelid, because that's going to be your lighter color. So why don't we do that? I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to knock the color off of it because I'm going to go in with a dark brown. And when you use the darker colors on the outside of your eye, you're giving your eye some depth, okay? So we're just going to go in with Forthright, which is this color here. Hey, Anna. Just blew out the color off. And then you're just going to place the color from the edge of your eyelid here up to where you started that transitional color. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this color and you're going to go right into the crease, and I go about 1/3 of the way in, and that's it, okay? And that builds your color, right? So now you want to blend. So blending brushes, there are several different types of blending brushes. So I have a few. Younique has one that's really fluffy. It's more like, I can't even find it. It's more like this, I want to say, where it's a little bit more of a domed, it's a long-haired brush, and I would use that brush. I just don't have it yet. It's on my want list. So, and I have a lot of Y-Cash that I need to use, so I need to get shopping. So I really like this blending brush when I'm doing a light blend. So this is when I'm trying to move the color a lot on my eye and I want it to spread out. If I want a really tight colored, I use a shorter haired brush like this one. Okay, so right now we're going to go in and we're going to blend this, and I use little circles. And the other thing is, if you tilt your brush upwards, you're going to push that color up. If you go straight on, you're going to keep that color basically where you've put it, right? You're not moving it up, you're not moving it down, you're keeping it straight where you've applied that color. If you want it down, obviously you're going to go in above and you're going to work the color and the brush down, okay? I want to move it up a little bit, I'm going to tilt up. I generally tilt up because I do have hooded eyes, and they're slightly downturned just because, you know, I'm old. And this just helps keeping that color going up and taking that, creating the look of a lifted eye is what I'm trying to say. Just like that. And what's great about blending and adding color as you go is, say you really want it darker, right? You're going to go back in, you're going to go back in with the Forthright, and you're going to pick up a bit more color and you're going to make it darker. And, oops. And then you're just going to keep adding color until you have it at the darkness that you want, right? Or the lightness, because you can keep blending until you take off the majority of the color and it doesn't feel like you've got a ton of color on your eye. Just like that. So see how now I've blended that color up and out, and it's kept my eye looking lifted. So you look how this eye looks kind of downturned, and this one's looking like it's going up. This is also why, guys, I use the tape, because you get a really nice clean line to go up. Okay, just like that. All right. I'm gonna have to do both eyes because I just remembered I have to go back out. All right, now say you wanted more of a blended look. So this is a really fat blending brush. I actually use this for putting powder underneath my eyes. I don't really use this as a blending brush, but the same thing, you're gonna blend up or down or straight on, depending on how you want your color to go. Now, let's talk about this lid color, because now we've put our really dark color on, but we still have a bare lid. Now you could have done the lid first, but I wanted to do the dark color first because I wanted to keep that really, really clean. However, I am going to switch palettes, and I'm going to use Opportunistic from the Build Your Own palette. And see, it always gives you that flashback because it's so, there you go, shiny. So see how that's a really pretty champagne color? And you're going to place this color, and I say place because you're going to pat this color on. There's no windshield wipers here, ladies. This is a pat situation. You're going to pat that color onto your eye. And you're going to just work it towards the darker color. And then you're going to take your blending brush again, but what I'm going to suggest is that you knock the color off of this because you don't want to really muddle this. And then you're going to work on blending that outer color into your lid color, just so you don't see any like clean lines. You just kind of wanted it blended. Nice word, Christine. Want it blended. Now, if you're concerned about fallout, take your foundation brush, whichever one you happen to use that day, and just sweep in an upward motion, clean up that color, just like that. Now, say you wanted a brow bone color. We're going to go in with Sincere. We're going to take the flat brush again. I'm using the cream shadow brushes, so I switched from the flat brush to the cream shadow, and we're going to go with I said Sincere, but I used Elated. And you're just going to tap this on underneath your eyebrow. Just like that. And you know what? We didn't talk about the brow brush. So you did that, and now you're going to just go back in. And again, you don't want to see where one color ends and one color starts, so you're just going to blend that in. Just like that. Super, super simple. Now, we should have talked about this one, but where did I put it? Okay. Brow brush. So the trick with brow brushes is it needs to be an angle, in my opinion, and it needs to be small. Because if you're using a fat angled brush, sort of like this one, look at the difference in size. You are going to have a really hard time getting your eyebrows the shape that you want them. Okay. A brow brush should have a spoolie on the end, so you can brush your eyebrows into place. And then you're going to take the angled end of your brush and you're going to dip it in, whether you use a powder or a gel or whatever you choose to use. And then you're going to trace the lower, like you're going to go right along where your eyebrow is. And you're going to really define it. And this way, doing that real definition here will help you create the brow look that you want. So just, you're gonna line it upper and lower, and then you're going to go in with your spoolie and you're going to brush the color in, and this gives you a much more natural look. Okay, so this one's by e.l.f. I'm very picky. I wanted something very, very thin, and I couldn't find anything really, really thin. And the one that Younique had, I felt like I wasn't going to use it the way it was supposed to be used. So I opted not to get that one just because I know I really like a very thin brush. The thinner, the better. Carly has a really tiny brow brush in her set that she got. If you can find it. I keep dropping it. See how tiny that is? Like, that's how small it needs to be, in my opinion. The other thing you want to, if you like doing powdered liners, getting something like this where it's like a pencil top, just like that. It's great for doing like a liquid or a gel liner. I don't tend to line my eyes, and if I do, I tend to use this one to line my eyes. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Okay, what did I forget? I did the cheeks, I did the face, I did the shadows. I think that's all of them. You know, there's other brushes called like smudge brushes and stuff like that. If you're gonna do like get really fancy with your shadows underneath, I do have like this one here that's kind of like a smudge brush, but it's usually really small and flat and dense, like something like that. I think Carly uses this one for her brows too. Just trying to see if she's got one in here. As we can tell, Carly's much more professional at this than I am. Oh no, that's her. I don't think she's got a smudge brush because I'm not seeing it. I like this one. This one's cool. This one's like tapered. This is like if you're gonna do one of those cut creases where you're gonna see the cut crease, that's the perfect brush for it. All right, guys, I hope this helped you out with what brushes you should be using and where and how to use them. Please feel free to share this video if you think it's going to help your friends. You know, it's a challenge trying to figure out what you're doing. And, you know, if you grew up like I did with a mom who didn't wear makeup and you grew up with all male friends, it makes it a little hard to learn how to put on makeup properly. So, you know, trial and error is what most of us had to do. And, you know, I had the rainbow colored eyes for a while. You know, a little bit of a, you know, Miss Mimi from the Drew Carey Show. It's all good. But so that's basically the best way I can explain using brushes. Now, if you still need help, I'm available to do a one-on-one. We can do a video one-on-one, or I can come see you, or you can come see me, however you want to do it. And this way, you know, it helps sometimes to get somebody to say, okay, you're holding the brush wrong. You need to hold it this way, or try this. Okay, this is not working. Try, you know, it's nice to have that friend, person to come and tell you what you're doing wrong and how to fix it. So, you know, just send me a message, say, hey, Christine, I need your help, and I'll be there to help you in any way I can. So I hope you guys learned something out of this video. Give me a thumbs up, share, like, whatever. All right? Have a good night, guys. Bye.